Hey guys, welcome to the BracketLife brand YouTube channel. This week we have some special guests, not one, but two. Casey and George from the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel on. So this is going to be exciting. I don't know if you guys all were paying attention. I was on their YouTube channel and Facebook Live a couple weeks ago, just talking bracket racing, right? Talking bracket life, the state of racing in Canada, everything like that, sharing some information back and forth as they're spread out across the United States. So now we're going to flip the table here, and then we'll learn some more about Casey and George.
So man, we appreciate you having us on here, and we're glad to see you again.
Yeah, I second that. It's definitely thanks for having us on. It feels a little different not being the host right now, and we haven't been doing it very long, to be honest, Brandon. But feels pretty different to be on someone else's podcast. Casey's done it a few times. I think you've been on a few different podcasts, Casey. Myself, I've never been on anybody else's podcast, so this is the first for me.
Yeah,
maybe second.
So that's actually how I found you guys. Was I listened to the Racers and Rental Cars podcast with Casey on it, and then had learned a whole bunch from that. Rachel had seen you actually on YouTube a while before then. But then that was mainly how I found you, and then, worked out that you guys messaged us, and then it, kind of took off from there, because we all get it, man. We're all the same, right? We're all from different areas of North America, but we're all still exactly the same,
Well, and that's what's awesome about bracket racing. That's kind of what we try to do on the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel, is literally bring people together like that, man, because there's a very good chance, Brandon, there's a good chance we never would have met you had it not been for all the social media type stuff and the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel, BracketLife brand. It allows us all to actually get together and hang out with each other, people who share the same beliefs as us and same interests as us, because we know bracket racing is obviously a super niche area. But once you get inside that, there's such a huge community based around it. It's just a great place that we can all just meet each other, hang out, talk about things we all like to talk about, that you can't just meet somebody in the grocery store and say, hey man, you know anything about bracket racing? But you can be like, hey man, how the Cowboys did,
right.
Maybe not for you guys, but for us.
Especially here in Texas, this is Cowboy Nation is where I'm from. I mean, I'm only an hour away from the stadium, so everybody here is a Cowboys fan, and I'm a Rams fan. Go LA. So
I couldn't see ever rooting for the Cowboys. I get it.
I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, I guess first, tell us a bit about you. I don't know if, Casey probably go first then, how'd you get into bracket racing? What got you started?
Man, George and I, at least for a little bit, we kind of had the same upbringing, whereas our dads actually went to high school together and kind of raced together through then. I don't know if they specifically were in high school together, but they were from the same area. So George and I, we've kind of known each other our whole lives. George is that little bit older than me, where until we kind of became adult age, we never really hung out a whole lot, but we always knew of each other. Once I got into college, that's how I actually started hanging out with George a lot. We lived in the same town. And like I said, we all we got to stick together. You know what I mean? Because people aren't going to know what it meant for this guy to be 005 on the starting line and then go down there and, drop the guy and be dead on. People aren't going to know about that, but George did. But how I got involved with racing was, obviously my dad was always a racer. I was always at the track. Whenever I was 10 years old, he finally convinced my mom to let him get me a junior dragster. I started running those. I ran those until I was 16 and aged out of it, and then started driving one of his dragsters for quite a while. Then got involved with college and all that stuff. Didn't really have a whole lot of time to go racing. Ended up getting out of racing for a while, chased a career in Denver, Colorado for quite a while. And long story short, got back out here to North Carolina last June. Sold a house in Denver, immediately bought a race car with some of the profits, started racing again, and now we're in the same boat, being poor as always.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, that's about right. Casey's kind of giving you the Cliff Notes version of how we got our run in. I can remember the day. We are adults now, as he said, we grew up as kids. So I remember watching him in juniors, and I didn't get the chance to run juniors myself. So How I got into drag racing was my dad and my uncle both built two Chevrolet Monzas and had door cars. And then from the door cars, my dad bought a dragster. My uncle stayed with the Monza, and it was running like 530s in the early 90s. So to run 530s in the 8th mile in the early 90s, that's getting it done, right? And to add on top of that, in a small block mouse motor, my uncle's, he's keen. He's only running a 414 small block in his dragster currently, but it'll run every bit of 430. So don't sleep on that little bitty old motor that's winding all crazy, and it sounds crazy going through the burnout, almost like a comp car, because it'll lead you into anyway. Long story short, that's how I got into the racing. I went to the track. I was the crew chief for the PG-13 version of what I actually was at the racetrack. Hey, go get this. Hey, go get that. Hey, get me some fuel. Hey, charge my battery. So that's what got me going. And around 7 or 8 years old, I remember a computer simulated game called Burnout. It came out, and I learned how to use the internet to get on that game, to build my car from every facet of a race car part, make it consistent, and then race against other people on the internet. Come to find out, I was racing with people at Gateway and around me. So that's how I began to start getting into it more and more and more. And so that's how it burned me, to be honest. So I roll up on Casey one day. We're at Gateway and he's racing. I'm spectating still because I still hadn't been in a race car yet. It took me quite a while to get going, but I'm on my motorcycle and I rode past him. Like, man, I wasn't on my motorcycle yet, but I was in my car and I looked past. I was like, where you at? He's like, I live in Edwardsville. Me too. He's like, okay, well, we ride bikes. Okay, I ride bikes too. Come over. So I'm riding my bike. This is literally the bike helmet, by the way, that I was using. I'm riding my bike and I'm coming up Casey's road and I see two bikes coming at me. It's Casey and our good friend Chris. And Casey pulls a wheelie, but he's sitting on the top of the tank and his legs are just spread out like this. And my head literally came right under him. Man, and that's how this all really took off, to be honest. Not just because we knew each other in bracket racing, because we acted ignorant on two wheels as well. So thank God that life's over, Casey. We've done some crazy stuff, bro. We've done some crazy
stuff. We lived though. We made it.
Right.
He comes flying by on one wheel.
One wheel.
You're like, hey, that's gonna be my buddy.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, I know that guy. Let's turn around. And it was me and my cousin, and he's a drag racer now too. So that's three of us now, Casey. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is probably one of the most unique getting into racing stories I've heard. That's, it's really cool. Cool to hear. Cool to see, because a lot of people, right, the stories are the same. Casey and I, very similar, grew up around it, got into juniors, and then that's what we did, right? And then so I like that, George, you got a little bit of a different deal, but still the same, right? Still finished off the same. You're still sitting here. Love drag racing, love every part of it, and want to be involved. So that's awesome. You guys both got some, big stuff going on right now with racing, right? Casey just picked up a new ride, and then George, you got a new to you truck.
Yeah. Well, I'll call it new to me. My dad built the thing. Well, he didn't build the chassis, but everything in it, from electronics to transmissions to motor. He had it first. So someone bought his hand-me-down. And honestly, he's 6'4", 270. And my thought process was, man, I don't want to slap you for selling that motor. And then I had to retract that real fast because I'm like, nah, you're way bigger than me. I don't think I'm going to go that route. Long story short, I knew where that truck was this whole time, and it had been sitting 6 or 7 years. And so I knew where it was. And I told him, I'm telling you, I'm going to get that motor back. It's a little 368 small block, go figure, right? And I'm going to get that motor back, and I'm going to get that whole setup back. And that's what I'm going to race as my first car. And that's what ended up happening. The guy never raced it. He just bought it. I don't know if he just wanted the cars for show, but he bought that car and a dragster that my dad had, and a trailer and a motorhome. He bought it all. He just said, give it all to me, and then left it sit. So I've been hunting it down for a long time. Finally, he was ready to get rid of it. And that's how I'm the new owner of an S10. Yeah,
there you go. George he is definitely not exaggerating though, because I found so many cars throughout that time frame, and I'm like, dude, this is a deal. Dude, this is a deal. And he's like, yeah, humming and hawing and things like that. And I'm like, dude, finally one day I'm like, why do you want that one so bad? Why do you want that truck? There's all these cars I sent you that are deals. And he just goes, man, I can see everything out of that truck. And he said, I'm going to get it and I'm going to win some races. And that's what I want.
Fact. Everything, you can see everything, not to mention that truck has family history. My dad won quite a few back to back with that combination in a little orange dragster. It was only running like 525, but man, it ran it every single time. 525. I don't care if it was hot, 525. It's perfect air outside. 525. That car stayed so consistent that, man, I consider myself to be an okay lever. I'm okay at cutting the light. And if I can get a car that's just going to repeat the number all day, I'm probably going to do pretty good there. If I can keep all the jitters and all the other mental games that drag racing plays on us, especially bracket racing, if I can keep those to the side. So besides being able to see so well out of that thing, it's got a lot of family history. That's one. If I would have not gotten that truck, I wish he would have bronzed that motor and just hung it on the wall or something. That's how many races he won with it. It didn't need to leave the family is what I'm getting at. And I'm glad to see it's back in the family. I was not going to lose track of that truck. So
that old man whooped me quite a few times with that old orange dragster with that motor in it, man. So I can definitely vouch for that.
I was only at 225 too, Casey. 225. And a little innovative 2002 innovative chassis, and he wore him out in that thing. So
yep.
Right on, man. Story. That's awesome stuff, man. I love it. I love all that stuff. There's because I get it. Say my grandfather, he's got an old 69 Chevelle laying somewhere in a field, and like I wish I could find it and fix that up. That's they're great stories and then great pieces to have. So that's cool. So just, we didn't really talk about Casey's, new Malibu, but, we'll see a lot of it on the, Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel, I'm sure, right, Casey?
That you will. It'll be in my background somewhere or another next week. I just got to figure out where I fit because I got them both in the 2-car garage, which we all know that a 2-car garage can fit 2 cars. But you know how much stuff you need to work on race cars. There's shelves, there's extra parts, there's 3 or 4 toolboxes, there's a beer fridge. You got to have a beer fridge.
That's right.
And that stuff all takes up room. So I got to find my path.
Yeah, no, I get you. So I guess we'll get into the YouTube channel, right? So Going Bracket Racing, awesome channel, by the way. Before we were into it, like I said, Rachel looked us up, found a bunch of stuff, and we were starting Bracket Life. And then getting into the YouTube kind of group or scene or whatever you want to call it, and doing that, and found a few. And then so she was interested in it. So I went on, checked it all out. My favorite one, honestly, is the adjusting the ladder bar suspension that you did. Mm-hmm. You see, that was as for somebody that's never worked on a ladder bar car. Right? Just to watch it and then actually you straight see this is what it is. This is what you need to do. It was beneficial, right? And, I know from talking to you guys, that's what you want to leave behind and then for everybody to see is to help out the guy that doesn't have a clue how to do it and then doesn't have a guy right next door to ask, so help out.
That's the overall goal of Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel is just to make guys. There's a lot of guys that are our age. I mean, Brandy, you're around our age. I mean, I call our age like just kind of our generation. There's a lot of people our generation that just don't know how to work on their own stuff because our dads always kind of did it. And for me personally, my dad's hobby is working on race cars just as much as it is driving race cars. And he enjoys working on them to the extent that he would never really let me mess with too much stuff unless he was doing it with something else and we needed to get him ready to go. And I kind of started doing all this stuff on my own. Like I built a chopper and everything. Like I know how to do everything. I learned by watching him every single weekend. But once I got out here on my own, I noticed that the hardest thing was I used to, like, if he told me to go do that, I know how to do all of it. But I needed him to tell me, hey, go do that. Well, I got out here and now I don't have him right here next to me. If I'm at the track, I mean, you know how it is. You have maybe, if things are running smoothly, you might have an hour between rounds. Well, if your carburetor's running in or something like that, you need to fix that right now. You don't have time to go walk around and see if there's some dude that you even trust there to touch your car, because he could screw something up, lean it out, blow the car up. Now you're in way bigger trouble, but that's another thing is we actually do have a video on how a Holly 4150 even operates and how it works on the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. I would encourage people to check out and kind of get more of an idea of what we kind of stand for. We do a lot of, in the off season, we do a lot of how-to videos like the ladder bar video you were talking about, kind of talk about the basics. And we're not out here saying like, hey, we're professionals, we're doing, this isn't what we do for a living, but we're saying, hey, man, we can get you pointed in the right direction. And at least it can get you going to the point where anyone with kind of a little bit of know-how and some tools can at least figure it out. You don't have to figure everything out, because if somebody can kind of be like, hey, man, 2 + 2 = 4, right? And you can be like, okay, cool. Well, I have 3 over here, and you can figure out 3 + 1 also equals 4. That's kind of the theory,
Right. Yeah. And everything Casey's saying is spot on. We made this page. Number one, I want something to leave to my kids. Okay. YouTube isn't going anywhere. Everybody knows it. YouTube's going to be here for a very long time. And even after YouTube does go away, somehow they're going to archive everything that's been done on YouTube, just because you can learn so much. You might as well just call it Google now, and because that's how similar Google and YouTube are. Well, you can Google that. Well, you should just go YouTube that then. And so I myself, I got to touch a lot of parts, and like Casey's saying, my dad could say go over there and do that, but I've never actually done it by myself. And so the thought process behind going bracket racing is, I'm at the racetrack. Let's say the carburetor's doing something wonky. All I really have to do is get on my cell phone, as opposed to calling my dad and go on bracket racing. Where's the video? And then boom, and watch it and say, yep, that's what I think it's doing, or to some extent, and there's my fix. I don't have to, or at least a direction to my fix. It may not fix the whole thing, but I know enough to get to where I'm going and say, hey, I've done this and this. Yeah, I've done this and this, Pops. What else needs to be done? Then the answer's done. So it's like, that's the main thing I feel Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel is going to leave behind. That how to is huge. It's astronomical.
And I think, like, as you said, it's, because I'm a mechanic, licensed truck mechanic. That's what I do. But then you work on, a race car, and then same with the ladder bar car, right? I'm sure, yes, you mess around with it long enough, it's not that hard. But then, boom, you watch this video for however long, and then, oh, okay, it's just that easy. Boom, you'll whip out, do it, and then you're good, because you're confident in what you can do. You just need, as you say, a little direction, a little push to say, hey, this is where you go, this is where you start, and then here you are. So it's awesome. I love it. And then I really enjoy also your live chats that you do on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. You stream them together, I guess. But I really like that, just sitting around talking, and then I enjoy it. Everybody sees different things, because, now you guys, you used to live close to each other, but you guys aren't very close anymore, correct?
Not anymore.
Right. Yeah, we're quite a ways away now. But the cool part about the live chats that George and I like is, number one, those were pretty much George's idea. George basically said, hey, man, we talk about this. At that particular time, we were pretty much talking every Friday night while we were watching Motor Mania. He's like, you think anybody be interested in this? Let's just see if people are, because either way, we're talking about it anyway. And if we had, for example, if Brandon lived by us, if we're all hanging out in the garage, he'd be talking to us too. He didn't know us till the other day. But the point is that we think that what our live chat does is it gives everybody a chance for their voice to be heard in a non-intimidating setting. Like, we're not big time guys. We're normal guys like everybody else. People don't really know who we are outside of the YouTube channel for the most part, other than our local tracks. But you can kind of chime in on we'll have a topic every week for the most part. And if we start talking about that, fine. And we usually venture off into some side topics that people kind of bring up. But it gives everybody the opportunity to kind of just bench race and just have a good time. Even if like I used to travel a lot for work. It would have been awesome to have something like that live stream whenever I'm bored sitting in the hotel room by myself, thousands of miles away from my race car, just to interact with people that like the same thing. And it's all instantaneous. It's not like you go on a forum and you wait for somebody to respond to your question. You can get an answer right there. And there's been times, George, where we've been in the chat and we've been talking about something, someone else brings something else up, and we just say something along the lines of, hey man, can anybody help this guy out? And somebody will immediately chime in and be like, yeah, do this. And they fix their stuff.
It's a fact. It's and like you said, it's almost like a live discussion board or a live what's Reddit? I don't know how to describe. Let's just say that it's like a live Reddit. You go there, you look up a topic, and it's like, okay, there's 1,000 people talking about the same topic. And that live setting, it is pretty nice, and that's why we do like to showcase other bracket racers and their products. For instance, BracketLife brand. I had people asking after yesterday, what is BracketLife brand? Just go to BracketLifeBrand.com. You'll find out. And if you don't know what it is right now, I promise you very soon you're going to know, right? You said something the very first time we met, Brandon, that said, if I went out to a steak dinner, I still want to be able to represent bracket racing. I feel the exact same way. I might not be able to wear a hat, but if I can put a nice polo on with a BracketLife brand shirt on, and somebody can say, what the heck is BracketLife? And I can start a conversation about bracket racing, I'm totally comfortable. I'm at home now. Everything will be fine from that. Exactly. And it's like, oh man, for instance, Casey, I heard you mention this. How cool is it every time you're driving your car and a person that you don't know has an NHRA sticker in their back window, because that they have something in common with you. And it's like, man, I want to give you 5, but you don't know me. You're going to look at me like I'm crazy.
And if you saw that guy in your grocery store parking lot, you're going to go up to him. If you see him getting in his truck, be like, hey man, what kind of car are you getting? You'll probably sit there and talk for like 10 minutes and now you're buddies. It's just easy.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how it goes, right? And then you walk around with a drag racing shirt on or anything like that, right? You see anybody anywhere, and then and it's funny how you pick it out so much, right? Somebody just has a shirt on, right? And you're somewhere, there's 100 other people, but then you see, oh, look at that guy. That guy's got a racing shirt, and then you know that. So, that's cool, man. I get it. That's the best part of the whole deal. And then, like you said, when Casey said about going and staying in hotels, I was in, trade school last year, 2 years ago, give or take. And same thing, you go back, you're sitting in your hotel and doing nothing. It's a great place to go to just hang out. And then it's nice. You just do it usually at 5 o'clock, right? 5 o'clock Eastern time here. So that, we all just finish work. You get home, take your work boots off, and then, you sit on the couch and listen to, to talk about bracket racing, and then throw some stuff in the chat and then talk about, racing more. So
yeah, man. 5 o'clock Eastern on every Tuesday. Me and George will be here, and whoever wants to come in and hang out with us, they'll come too. It's been building up. I think last time we had maybe like 40 or 60 people constantly interacting in the chats between YouTube and Facebook. So I mean, you get at it from either platform. Yeah, it's fun for everybody.
Oh yeah. And shouting it out is even better. And I would say one of the hardest parts about it all is if you do have a spouse and you've got that many people in your chat, they're just like us. Every one of them can go for hours talking about this. So you could literally lose. You can go from sun up to sundown. I believe you could probably go from sun up to sundown talking.
We've done it before.
Guarantee it.
Well, that's right. We said that just before we started recording, right? Because we sat here for half an hour, and then it would just went cool, just like that. And you didn't feel like that long, right? And it's only 30 minutes, but still, it just flew by. So we're just talking about drag racing. We're just talking about, oh, what are you guys doing? What's this going on? What's what you're watching this weekend or whatever, right? So it's just like that, man. And we all see the same thing, right? We're all involved in the same groups outside of this, and then get the same information, and then to go over it. But then, well, this guy, somebody else saw this over here, and then somebody else noticed that, or this, a different opinion. So it's awesome. Like you said, especially, for us, we in Canada, Ontario, Canada, we just got put on lockdown again. So that's all starting. So then this is somewhere that I don't have to leave my house and I can still sit here and talk to you guys and, everybody else about drag racing, because there's
At least
still,
you feel like you're doing something.
Right.
you guys are still all get to go to the racetrack and whatnot. We're not allowed to, leave the house, but you guys can do all the cool stuff. So we just talk about it. Right. And so that's a lot of fun.
Well, that's the exact same boat I was in. I mean, that sucks that happened yet again. I was hoping this summer we'd all be over all this type of stuff and everybody can go back to normal lives. But whenever I was in Denver, I was actually living in an apartment because I had just sold my house and I was in the process of looking for a house in North Carolina. And that's when George and I kind of started getting all these ideas together. We hadn't started it quite yet, but we were getting all these ideas together because we were so much better. It was so much better that we could at least watch Motor Mania and we could at least feel like we're interacting with racers and in that chat and things like that. And we were kind of like, hey man, maybe we could do something like that in a different light, like maybe more of working on your car and bench racing and doing stuff like that. And that's kind of, I guess you could say, the catalyst to what we actually ended up doing with Going Bracket Racing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love it. I love the story. I love, how tight you guys are. And then, because I get it, I got real tight friends and stuff like that too. And there's not a whole lot of people actually that are, more my age here, but because I'm 25 and Rachel's 23. She shouldn't be really upset if I just got that wrong.
Woo! Hey, edit.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of people in this area that are my age that are doing the same stuff as me, and then they're as heavy into it, right? And borderline obsessed a little bit sometimes. You could argue that. But there are a lot of guys that are a little bit older and stuff like that I have that you call and you just, you're watching Motor Mania, you just give them a call and you're like, man, did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever, you're, who you think's going to win and whatnot. So that's cool. And then that chemistry there. And because like you guys said earlier, not that, you're nobodies, but like same with me. I'm like, you're just kind of like a nobody, right? Where like, Luke goes live and says anything, boom, there's like 500 people watching.
Right.
And
right.
Stuff like that. So, that's where it's different, but then we're all the same. We're all on the same level as everybody else who shows up at the racetrack. And so we're just hanging out and it's, it feels so comfortable here. So, which is cool. And I encourage everybody to check that out. Like I said, Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern every week. There's always something going on. And then, just because the topic comes up to start, and then maybe you're not interested in that, but give it about 15 minutes and then, you'll be all over the tracks with it.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, we like to ramble.
I can go one even further too, because everybody knows the SFG 500 is coming next week. And I believe I'll start a watch party at Going Bracket Racing for anybody who wants to join in and shoot the breeze, almost like we're in the pit or in the stadium or at the racetrack, just sitting there. Thanks, Motor Mania. I know you guys are going to put on that race, but I'm going to start a watch party and let's just see how many people we can get in there to just shoot the breeze. I'll have it started all day just because Facebook will let me run it all day. I might have to restart it here and there, but something to do, I can't go to it. Unfortunately, my old man and my uncle will be competing in it. And unfortunately I'm not, but I'm going to be watching. I can promise you that. It's something to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be cool for sure. Absolutely. I'm excited for that. And everything else that's going on. This is going to be great. I'm really excited for what this is going to bring for the three of us together, right? And as buddies or friends now, I feel, to hang out, do more of this stuff, do more of the live stuff with you guys. And then, just as you said, just doing watch parties and hanging out, watching drag racing together. And then hopefully one day we can all hang out at the racetrack sometime.
Yeah.
We'll have to make that work for sure. That'd be a special trip for all of us.
Oh yeah.
That would be awesome.
And that would be awesome lined up and like I said, I don't want to leave and go to a hotel. I know I mentioned that to you last time, so I'll probably just rent a motorhome. I don't have one yet. So I'm not leaving the racetrack just for reasons like this. And I know as well as everybody in this chat knows that when the lights go off at the racetrack, there's some pretty fun things that happen after racing is over as well. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun.
Hey, I got a buddy that said that he's gonna contend with the Canadians drink for drink. He swears he can do it. So
I
at
saw
least
that.
we'll have something to watch right there.
Perfect. He's a good man. I'm excited. I'll get the boys all lined up.
Oh man.
Yeah. But well, before we call it quits on the video for now, something I've always done for all the interviews so far, what's one piece of advice, we'll go one for each of you, that you would give to somebody getting into bracket racing or trying to get into the sport?
I'd say I'll go first, George, because you might steal mine. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But I would say more than anything, just don't think that whatever you have isn't good enough. You'll see the car that I just got it's actually going to be a backup / foot brake car. But it's just something to work on and something to build into something. But don't think just because you have $5,000 in your car that you can't take that and go win all this money just like everyone else, because there's plenty of people who have proven that to be wrong. And we all have to start somewhere. Everybody can't just jump into their dad's $90,000 Pro Charge dragster, There's a lot of us out there that have to start it out on our own. And you don't have to tell me and George, we both moved away from our parents, significantly far away. Not like we can even, like, my dad actually is outside right now walking around my yard. He just came here because we're going racing 2 days this weekend and 2 days next weekend. But he used it as an excuse to come out racing because now he can drive my race car for once, my second car. But yeah, man, I know what it's like to start from scratch, and it's not easy. And if you have enough money to get you a race car and an open trailer, guess what? At least you're going racing. That's what matters.
That's right. That's a good one.
Yep. And Casey, I shouldn't have let you go first because you stole a pretty good chunk of what I would hint at too. Number one, and first and foremost, bracket racing is an awesome family. I have 2 little boys. They're gonna enjoy coming up in bracket racing. You know how I know? Because I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. Casey enjoyed it. Everyone enjoyed coming up in bracket racing and making friends at the racetrack that they're gonna eventually have the ability to turn into lifelong brothers, right? That's how Casey and I are, lifelong. This is nothing that's gonna go anywhere ever. So one thing I could say to someone trying to get into the sport is, number one, just show up. Even if you're there as a spectator in the very beginning, show up, because while you're watching, you're going to learn something. A lot of people say watch and learn and use that word as kind of a cliche. It's not cliche. That's a fact. If you can watch and learn this, you're going to start getting some type of a routine for yourself. And then I'll take words from Brett Kepner. Casey, you know who that is. We grew up with him. Head to your local enterprise rental, whatever, Avis, rent you a pretty nice street car and stage that bad boy. Take it out down the track. Get used to getting into the beams right where you want to be, and try cutting the light and see if you can't tear somebody's head off. So I don't care how you do it. Nowadays at the racetrack, you show up and you're there late enough, you can probably just bring a 4-wheeler with you and stage it up in a golf cart race. You're still going to have a lot of fun. So my advice is just show up. Everything else will take care of itself from that point.
And the cool thing is, George, is that you know this and I know this, and I'm sure Brandon knows this, but going off of kind of what I said earlier mixed with kind of what you said, if you don't know anything about your car and you're having problems, ask the guy next to you, because he's going to help you out. I mean, he'll have tools. He'll probably let you use his tools. He might give you parts. And if he doesn't know a guy, he probably has, or if he isn't the guy, his guy next to him probably will help you out. I mean, that's the cool part about bracket racers, is we're always willing to help each other out. That's the reason George and I think, got into motorcycles when we were younger, because it's the same community where you notice everybody who rides a Harley next by each other, they all wave. Well, it's the same way with bracket racers. Same guys run Jeeps, like it's a community. You're already involved with each other, and they're your best friend as soon as you say hi.
Yep.
And to expand on that a little bit, with how everybody does become family, right? that is where, as we talked about Rachel, right, being my fiance, we're getting married in October. That's where I met her, right? We met at the racetrack. She drag races, I drag race. We ran juniors together for 10 years. And, 2 years ago, we started talking and hanging out, and 2 or 3 years ago, I guess. And then, now we're getting married. So that's what, that's drag race.
What racetrack are y'all's getting married at? Because I can see that in your
That's the
future.
question, right?
Right next to the stage beams. Just, I do. That'd be
Actually, it's going to be in Rachel's parents' race shop, and then our dragsters will be in there.
Nice.
So,
Awesome.
don't worry, the race cars will be a part of it.
I'm actually the minister at Casey's wedding coming up here in July, and I threatened him that I'd wear my race boots with my get up. So
Actually,
don't put it past me, Casey.
my groomsmen. So we have a huge bridal party, and then depending on the whole COVID stuff, but that's the plan. Is that I think we have like seven on each side, and everybody except for 2 guys have race cars, and we race with. So they had all said that if they could buy new race or fire suits instead of actual suits, then right, it'd be cheaper and we'd all look really good.
That's pretty neat. Hey, take plenty of photos, as I'm sure you won't have a choice. Your other half's gonna make you. So I'd love to see the photos from that one, man. That's
Absolutely,
gonna be nice.
Guys. But this has been great. Like I said, we go on for hours for this. It's a lot of fun. Love hanging out with you guys, and then I'm sure we're gonna do it a whole lot more. And hopefully everybody does check out, the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome,
Hey,
man. We appreciate you having us on.
Talk to you guys later. Right? Have a good one.
See you, man.
Thanks.